everybody, and welcome back to the WCS Season 1 Finals. I am Artosis, and I will be casting alone here today. This is Group C. If you missed it, I already did Group A, and Wolf and Caldor are actually still doing Group B. I guess they've had a lot longer games than what we had in that very ZVZ-filled group and ZVT-filled group that I just did. So, turns out that I get to stay down here on the main stage. Sorry to the audience, but gonna be some more solo casting, which means analytic only. I am gonna be analyzing the hell out of all these games. I hope you enjoy that style of commentary, because that's what you're gonna be seeing. So Group C, a really good group. We'll be throwing that graphic up in just a moment, but this is actually the group I'm most excited about. It's a really hard one to actually end up calling. Hero, ForGG, SOS, and Symbol. And obviously that's two of our three Protosses in the whole tournament. In case you didn't know, Group B, Alicia already made it through in first place, in fact. So Alicia already through. We do have a Protoss in that very important round of 8 that starts tomorrow. As for today, we're going to go ahead and go through all of the groups. So if you want to check out the other groups, of course, check out the other GOMTV stream that Wolf and Caldor are on. So let's go ahead and check out the actual format of this tournament. We have the group elimination today, and that we are casting like madmen right now. It is, in fact, double elimination, best of 3. It's just like GSL groups, for if you've ever watched GSL, which I hope you have, and if you haven't, you better get on that. Round of 8 starts tomorrow, and that's going to be all best of 5s. And then, of course, on the last day, Sunday, it's going to be the round of 4 and the finals, which will be a best of 5 and round of 4. And then, of course, as always here at the GSL, best of 7 finals. Our maps: Whirlwind, Belshire Vestige, Akalon Waste, Star Station, Daybreak, Neoplanet S, and Newkirk Precinct. A bunch of maps that have been on the ladder a long time. Of course, Daybreak and Newkirk recently being taken out, but a good set of maps indeed. As far as prize money goes, it's madness. $40,000 goes to the champion, which, well, that's a lot of money, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at our match results so far. Group A that I casted a little bit earlier, Sulky and Alive made it out. Unfortunately, the two foreigners, TLO and Stefano, not quite able to do it. Stefano getting last, and TLO ended up getting 3rd place. That, of course, leaves us with only Damaga left as far as foreigners go. This is what's going on right now in Group B. MVP took out Ryung, and Alicia took out Kongho in a very close match. Then Alicia ended up taking out MVP, advancing into the round of 8 as a Protoss player. And then, of course, Kongho versus Ryung just barely finished up a little bit ago, and Kongho took that 2-1. And they are just now getting into that final match of MVP versus Kongho, so go ahead and check that out if you like. Now, here's the group that I am about to solo cast for you. Well, you are in luck, because there are 2 Protosses, and I know a lot about Protoss. It is Liquid Hero going up against Millennium's ForGG, and Woongjin Star's SOS going up against Azubu's Symbol. 4 insanely good Korean players qualifying from multiple locations. Hero, the champion of America. ForGG qualified through Europe, top 4. And of course, SOS and Symbol both qualifying through Korea. So this is going to be a really fun match. I'm super stoked about Hero, SOS, Symbol, and ForGG fighting it out. It's a really hard one to predict. I think ForGG is going to be a bit of an underdog, which is almost weird to say, but the level of these 3 other players just seems to be a little bit higher. You know, ForGG's been living in Europe for a while, and normally when a top-end Korean moves to another country, they do actually deteriorate a little bit because they aren't in the constant, crazy, hardcore practice environment that Korea is, just chock full of the top best players in the world. So we'll see if he can actually keep up with his former rivals, these other Koreans that actually live and spend a lot of time in Korea. You know, Hero has won a ton of tournaments abroad, many DreamHacks. He's done very well at MLGs. He's done very well at GSL and even in Korea. So very high-end opponent to go up against first. I think it definitely favors Hero, but you can't count ForGG out. He's a very powerful player, and his TVP over the years has been pretty sneaky overall, pretty aggressive, can be hard to deal with. So we'll be jumping into that in just a few moments here. Our first map is going to be Neoplanet S for these two. Now, Neoplanet S, this is an interesting one. I kind of like this one to start the set because as Protoss, sometimes you're tempted to get aggressive here. That third base can be a little bit hard to hold at times. It's a little bit away from the natural, and if you're not right in position, of course, they can fly right over it and go into your main, so that can be difficult as well. But overall, it's pretty easy to take your natural base here, and you're pretty much up against the wall, so there's not a lot of airspace to fly dropships around behind it. Well, we'll have to see. We'll get into there pretty soon here. And of course, our second match is going to be SOS against Symbol. And SOS against Symbol, I'm really excited for. I think it's going to look like what I was hoping SOS versus Soulkey would look like. You know, Symbol, one of our best circuits for a very long time. His ZVP is almost unrivaled. He's got some insanely good ZVP. Really great at playing a very defensive and long game, whereas SOS is a very aggressive, attacking Protoss. Uses a lot of Dark Templars, uses a lot of Zealots, and uses a decent amount of Sky Toss. So I can't wait to see how Symbol actually goes against that and tries to counter that type of style. Well, this is the part where I've said everything there is to say, and I'm sitting here alone, so I'm just going to make small talk with you people at home. I do hope that you're enjoying. Please spread the word that WCS is on. This is a really jam-packed day, a lot of casting, a lot of groups to get through, but I think the next 2 days are going to be absolutely fantastic. To tell you a little bit about what our casting schedule will be like here, tomorrow morning I believe it'll be myself and Caldor casting the morning group, so you can definitely tune into that. I know on the that night it should be Wolf and Caldor, I believe, and then on Sunday myself and Tasteless will round you out, bring you from the round of 4 up through the finals, and that should be pretty fantastic. I cannot wait to see who's actually up in that top 4. I would love it if MVP could make it personally. Would not mind seeing a Protoss do very well. And I think out of this group, we're definitely going to have at least one Protoss come out. Maybe 2. We'll see. So let's go ahead and take a look at our players. It looks like our game is almost ready. Here's Hero from Team Liquid. He won WCS America, and he's been doing well in Pro League. He's just a really high-end player that seems to have finally completely gotten over his nerves. He's been playing the best Starcraft I've ever seen him play, really. And he's been playing as good as any practice games of his I've seen, even when he's on the biggest stages now. So that is an impressive thing to say about this guy. He's always had those nerve issues. He's one of our gum chewers, as Tasteless would say. He's also got that little napkin there that is to make sure that his hands stay dry. So in case you were wondering, you can get really sweaty in those booths between all the highlights and all that stuff. Now, apparently Hero brought his own chair in. ForGG though, nope, he's living in Europe right now. He just looks like he draped his hoodie over the back of his chair. Now, ForGG, he's been in Europe for a while. Joined Millennium, of course. Doing great over in Europe. A very feared and respected Terran on that server. You know, I feel like his TBT is his best, followed by his TVZ, in my opinion. Which makes this group a little bit harder for him, because he's going to be fighting against 2 Protoss. You know, Hero is definitely a big challenge to have to try to fight. And then I would say SOS is a similar level to Hero as far as PvT goes, maybe even better. I like SOS's PvT insanely much. He's so clever with his usage of hallucination. So we'll see if ForGG can get through. Looks like the countdown has begun. And we are getting ready to get going. Starcraft 2. This is the WCS Championships for this season, #1. And let's take a look at our players where they are at up here in the top right of Neoplanet S. It is
Liquid Hero from America.
And down in the bottom left, our Terran player, a Korean but lives in Europe right now. He is
Millennium ForGG from Europe.
Of course, ForGG made it through that European Premier League series and did get his qualification spot here. How well will he be able to do against some of Korea's very best Protosses? You know, there's a very solid Protoss lineup over in Europe as well, so he may have some good practice for this. You know, MC is currently over in Europe. They have Sase, they have Grubby, they have Nanoa, Todd. Many top Protosses are over there, and so, you know, it's not like he's playing slackers or something like that. He's definitely got good practice partners if he's teaming up with these guys and getting those good games in. But I do worry, you know, there's a lot of places in the world, there is, what do I call this? There's to practice, a lot of people go on ladder a lot, and while ladder is a great place to practice and get better, when you're at this level, you really need to be playing more and more custom games. So that's the one thing I do worry about, is that being over in Europe, is he playing the customs, or is he mostly laddering for practice? Because if that's the case, he's going to hit some builds that are so ridiculously refined from Hero that it's going to be hard to keep up with. Well, Hero coming in, and he's just checking, seeing, are there any gases? No, no gases. And that tells him basically all he needs to know. This will either be double barracks being thrown up as the probe is chased away, or a command center, and it's almost always the command center. The like 3 barracks rushes and whatnot are pretty weak nowadays, so he's going to be quite aware of what's going on. And in fact, does stay around, sees that command center, and we even saw, as our wonderful observer Heaven Dawn pointed out, he took a probe off gas as soon as he saw no gas for his opponent, so that we could see a slightly quicker Nexus. Now, will ForGG try to block it? That's the question. In fact, he just goes right by, doesn't even try. And this actually would have been such a superb moment to build an engineering bay. When his SCV skirted by and saw the probe, he should have seen it. His eyes were obviously looking elsewhere, maybe at his Marine that was chasing the scouting probe of his opponent, but if he had seen that and thrown that down, Hero hadn't started a Zealot. That would have been extremely annoying to deal with. He would have had to throw up a second gas. He would have banked a lot of minerals. His Nexus would not be nearly as quick. So I would say just a small mistake there from ForGG. Well, Mothership Core is out. Nice hiding spot there for the probe. And another command center going down for ForGG. So he's being about as greedy as you can possibly get in this matchup with the instant 3 commands. Now, will Hero figure this out? Because if he just doesn't know, he might go into normal play. You know, grab a robotics, grab a couple gates, get a forge, something like that. But if you find out that they're actually going for triple command center, you can actually go into triple nexus, or you can just grab double forge. You can be pretty darn greedy as the Protoss, especially with that Mothership Core out. But so far, doesn't look like there's any real way for him to scout. He hasn't moved his Mothership Core, so that's the only way he could be able to fly into that base quick enough to really make a difference here. Well, he does have that sentry on the way as well as the robotics, so he'll get observers out, but the last thing in the world you want to scout with an observer is that they already have 3 command centers. When you see that, you realize, oh, okay, he got a little bit better build order edge on me. So right now we do have 3 more barracks on the way for ForGG. Definitely wants to get a lot of production out right away. And of course, he needs to do that because it's called powering. You get your economy really going, and then you get your production really going, and that's powering. And it's the harder you can power, the more powerful your macro will end up being. So he's basically all set as far as that goes. It doesn't look like we are going to see any sort of aggression from Hero. Hero's playing pretty normal here. His gateway's going a little bit late, which is good. It's actually a very good thing to see that that gateway didn't start till about 6:40. Because if you don't really know what's coming at you, you throw them down around 6 minutes. And he needs to get everything as late as possible just because 4GG did go for such a quick third command. Well, he is getting his quick armor upgrade, sees the 4 racks, finally getting a decent scout off. I think still, though, he hasn't actually seen that there's another command center. Although at this point, he has to be wondering, why is this what I scouted? 4 racks on this side with 1 add-on. That's kind of a fishy set of buildings. So I think Hero's starting to put 2 and 2 together, especially with this observer coming in. He should realize, oh, there's not enough Marines here, that this is some sort of really weird, like, combat shield rush timing or anything like that. So he should be figuring out about now, his brain should be putting it all together, that this is, in fact, a really, really greedy opener. Especially now that he sees that factory. Now he knows, even though he hasn't seen it. So he has to decide what to do here, and I like it. He throws, well, I don't know if I like it because I don't know exactly what he's going to do. He is throwing down the robotics bay and 2 more gates. My first thought, because I've seen Hero do it in the past, and it's an okay thing to do against this. Oh, by the way, we actually have the hallucinated oracle. I guess I'll talk about that other thing in a moment. Hallucinated oracles are great because they actually scare Terran. They actually have to be very careful. This would be a really weird timing for an oracle. But he just gets a pretty good scout off, realizes and understands everything that's going on. Okay, so what I was talking about before with the Colossus and what I thought that Hero was going to do. The thing is, it wouldn't quite work at the timing that he got that robotics bay, but against a really quick triple command center, they get very slow starports, so you can actually do like a 2 or 3 range Colossus all-in with 6 gates, and it's very powerful. But it looks like Hero instead is going to go Blink plus Colossus. Now, I think he's going to stay on Colossus. I don't think he's going to switch into Templar tech. We don't see any range yet, but if he goes into Templar tech from here, then this is just a really weird delayed response, which Hero's way too good for that, I think. So, throws down that Nexus, and we'll be seeing, okay, yeah, the second Colossus, thank God. I didn't want to have to say that Hero is making the wrong choice. So yeah, he's going for Colossus tech, and he's just getting upgrades, slowly but surely out of 1 Forge, getting his Blink as well. So he's going to be able to have a lot of Stalkers, and because of how late the starports are, he should always have enough Stalkers to stop the Vikings from crushing him. Because that's something that Terrans oftentimes will try, is just to get a nice big bunch of Vikings, kill off your Colossus, and kill you. But Hero should be fine because of the lateness of his tech, and the fact that he's getting Blink right now. So we'll see how many Colossus he ends up making. You know, you can make between, if you're going to go actual Colossus tech, 2 to 4 is generally sufficient. And he's already started his 3rd, and he's getting Templar tech. So everything looks pretty normal, pretty good for Hero. And, you know, he is down by, what is this, about 26 supply right now? But that's actually okay, because Hero is someone who knows how to play from a slight deficit. And in fact, I've seen him make much larger deficits than this and play just completely textbook standard and kill people. So I wouldn't be worrying about him if you're a Hero fan. Now we do have Psystorm coming, and we actually have vehicle plating on the way. I do like the vehicle plating quite a bit. Keep your Medivacs and Vikings alive a bit more, and any Hellbats that you're going to make as well. And there are some Hellbats, but I think they were just made for a drop, as opposed to going mass Hellbats in his army composition. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up going for that, but he's making them kind of half-assedly, if that makes any sense. He made 2, then waited a couple minutes, then made 2 more. You know, having a few of those in your army, like if you have 6 or more Hellbats, it's really going to hurt the Zealot count. And the Zealot count is what you put your extra minerals into, because you're spending all your gas as Protoss. So Hero's going to have to be very careful about engagements. Both avoiding Zealots clumping up into those Hellbats, and perhaps even avoiding engagements at all. I think it's a lot of times better to actually engage like that, but that was really, really soft. And now he's in a ton of trouble. Oh my god, he's just going to die. Yeah, he's about to die. There's not... This is too much damage right here. This is pretty easy for ForGG to break through. He would need a lot of Side Storms to end up pulling this. In fact, that was the wrong Nexus to Nexus cannon. Hero in a lot of trouble here. ForGG is crushing right through. And, well, you know, this was kind of a weird one in some ways. Not necessarily overwrite this second, but with this amount of damage done by ForGG, the odds of him losing this game are almost nil. Like, he can lose his whole army, and he is completely fine because he's killed off all the tech of his opponent. Okay, so Hero just GG's, and rightfully so. No reason to stay in that game and make yourself depressed. So, let's talk about that just for a moment and why that happened. Hero wasn't paying attention for a moment. I don't know if he was looking down at the 3 Zealots he sent for harassment or what, but losing like 6 or 7 Blink Stalkers when you're already behind macro-wise because your opponent went immediate 3 command centers and Hero kind of did a very middle-of-the-road safe build, that gave ForGG the edge already. So when he killed the Stalkers off, that was actually it. Because as I was saying, the starport is late, so he should always have enough Stalkers to stop the Vikings from just slaughtering the Colossus. But he lost those Stalkers, so the Vikings then go ahead and slaughter the Colossus. And once that's done, that's it. It's over. Nothing else to be said there. So ForGG actually just rolling through Heroes so simply there. Very one-sided game. There wasn't a lot that Hero did wrong, though. I mean, he lost track of his Stalkers for a moment, and then he couldn't hold off the Vikings from killing his Colossi, and everything just fell apart, which can happen sometimes in PvT, especially with build orders like that, where the center of his army really is the Colossus. When you go for Colossus and actually commit, you must keep them alive against Terran. You can't just lose them. And if you do, they have to do tons of damage, and you already have to have your Side Storms ready and enough High Templars. You have to have a lot of splash damage against Terran once Terran gets above, the very early game low supply Marine Marauder Medevac. After that, you will just die otherwise. So, our next game already counting down. Whirlwind is the map. Well, we'll see how this one goes. Wouldn't be surprised if we see ForGG go for a very fast expansion or even a command center first, but Hero may have a plan for that. So let's go ahead and jump right in.